Good afternoon, all the people who have come. We have with us today Mr. Rajesh Agarwal, who is the Joint Secretary, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, and he's also the Director General Training in the same ministry. And I'm Jayant Krishna from TCS, and also the lead for Task Force and Apprenticeship Reforms at CI. Am I audible to everybody? I can't hear them, right? All right. Okay. So, the purpose of today's webinar is largely to, share with you, the government perspective, the industry perspective of what these reforms are all about, why these reforms are required, and very clearly what do we expect from the industry going forward. See, I'll just before Mr. Rajesh Agarwal takes over, I'll give you a 2 or 3 minute overview. See, the Indian Apprenticeship Act, which was first enacted in the year 1961. If you try to recall what kind of economy we had at that point of time, basically we were a largely manufacturing-based economy. There were some large companies which had come into existence, but again, a large MSME sector. And the service sector, what the name had not taken off, except banking, insurance, and few other sectors. Service sector had not really taken off. And even this manufacturing sector was under a license quota kind of a regime. And, and perhaps it was necessary to have Apprenticeship Act of this kind in early 60s because the industry also lacked adequate maturity. And therefore a prescriptive regime for notification of apprenticeship quota, number of seats at every industrial unit for every trade would have been necessary, But since the Act was first enacted, more than 5 decades have elapsed, and very clearly, in addition to the manufacturing sector becoming more robust, we have a very large service sector today, and as a lot of people say, service sector has perhaps become a bigger employer in the country than manufacturing sector, and the Apprenticeship Act had not really, permeated to the service sector, earlier. And also the other changes, if you look at that time, perhaps we had only ITIs in the space of vocational training, and today we have ITIs, we have private sector ITCs, we have National Skill Development Corporation, their partners who are into the training business. All over the country, there's a big network. There are also a lot of NGOs into training, and lots of other training, vocational training institutions have been set up. Skill development centers have been set up all across the country, both in the government space, in the private sector, and so on and so forth. See, if you look at our overall the number of apprentices that we have in the country, trade apprentices, are just about a little over 2 lakh at any point of time, and all apprentices put together, which includes MHRD apprentices, which are engineers and so on and so forth. All categories put together is again less than 3 lakh. It's a very, very small number. If you look at this number, when you compare with Germany, which has almost 3 million apprentices, 30 lakh apprentices. If you look at Japan, they have 10 million. Which is 100 lakh apprentices, and China has 20 million apprentices. So our figure is very, very small. The apprenticeship regime did not really take off, and sometimes you wonder, why so many years, almost 5 decades is a long period in the history of the nation, and there have been some cosmetic changes here and there, but no major reforms ever took place. So industry has been actually leading for apprenticeship regime. They have been pleading in a big way that it should be a very, very business-friendly regime, and with much reduced governmental controls. Actually, the Confederation of Indian Industries, CI itself took a lot of leadership in that area and did a nationwide consultation with its members and to understand as to what their pain areas are with reference to apprenticeship and why they have not embraced the apprenticeship regime wholeheartedly, and this led to a lot of emergence of a lot of pain areas, then what changes they wanted in the Act, and again changes, the CI led a process of having a consensus building over the kind of reforms which the industry wanted, and then finally presented it to the then Ministry of Labor and Employment that these kind of changes are required. And the National Skill Development Agency also did some work and suggested some reforms around the same time in that space. And the good news is that a lot of reforms that the industry wanted have been accepted by the government. If not all, more than 90% have been accepted by the government. And as Mr. Rajesh Agrawal will tell you in due course of time, the government has an open mind to look at even next generation reforms if they are required in the apprenticeship scheme. And the act has been, the amended act has been passed by both houses of parliament. It has been notified, and also the new set of rules. Some of the reforms were hard coded in the act. Some of the reforms were included in rules, which have also been notified since then. So it's almost like a wish list of the industry as a whole, which has been granted by the government, which is a very, very, very good and encouraging thing. So now we'll start. Just before we start the conversation with the Joint Secretary, Mr. Rajesh Agrawal, I want to share with you that lots of studies have happened all over the world, and all the studies have found that the hands-on focus during the apprenticeship, it results into direct benefits for the industry by way of enhanced skills, higher productivity, better work attitude and ethic, greater professionalism once the apprentices actually join the workforce after apprenticeship. And therefore, the payback period for the industry, for the investment they make in apprenticeship, in having apprentices on board, is very, very short. So the entire investment pays back, within no time. And needless to say that, government also benefits because among the large number of skilling schemes that the ministry has, perhaps, apprenticeship has the greatest efficacy in the sense that this is the only scheme which has a huge, almost 75–80% hands-on component, and therefore the efficacy of learning is huge in the scheme, and therefore potentially this could become perhaps the most significant scheme under the National Skills Mission launched by the Prime Minister of India. And very clearly for the youth there is a win, there is a gain of various kinds. It improves their employability as well as market value, and also their capacity to become self-employed. And actually, to use the much abused term, it's a win-win for all, for government, for youth, for industry, if apprenticeship system has to become more robust than it is today. So with these, views from the industry, some perspective from the industry, I would straight away, request Mr. Rajesh Agrawal for his views, and we would like to understand, Mr. Agrawal, first of all, welcome on this webinar, and we would like to understand from you that what really, what is the need to bring these reforms in the Act?
As you rightly said, Jayant, apprenticeship has got the potential to become one of the most key things in the skilling in India. Skilling today is the buzzword, and the challenge before the country is huge. And we realize that though the Apprenticeship Act has been there for more than 5 decades, it has really not taken off. The country of the size of India, we are much far behind from countries like Germany, Japan, which are much ahead when it comes to apprenticeship. And as you rightly pointed out, when we talk of standard skilling with quality, I think apprenticeship is much way ahead in any other form of skilling. Working on the job, working on the machines directly under supervision is the best way to skill. So, and there has been, we have been trying to interact with industry and try to find out what has gone wrong in this Apprenticeship Act. And probably the interaction with CII and the group of industry which the CII represents, I think, led us to think that we need to bring in a comprehensive reform in that, understand the pain points of the industry and try to resolve that issue so that we can really relaunch this Apprenticeship Act with a much larger target in mind and much larger vision in mind. And that's why you look at it, these reforms don't only restrict themselves to removing the pain points, but it also tries to increase its ambit in terms of bringing service sector also under the apprenticeship.
More inclusive.
More inclusive, so that everybody who's there a part of MSME sector, service sector, manufacturing sector, can take advantage of it, bring in apprentices, more and more apprentices, and it can be a win-win model where the youth also benefits by way of good skilling and industry also benefits by way of good productive workforce in the country.
All right, that's very encouraging, Mr. Dwal. And so another thing which I wanted to understand from you is that the entire this quota-based prescriptive regime where government people used to go and inspect every unit and decide how many seats you should have based on the number of machines, number of manpower, and number of machines required for manufacturing, and therefore that you can spare for apprenticeship, and therefore a quota used to be given for each trade, for each industrial unit. So that has been substituted by another regime. Would you like to tell something about that?
Yeah, see, Apprenticeship Act, when it came, it was basically to regulate the apprentices, the students who are going as apprentices, was never aimed at regulating the industry. But probably in our communication to the industry, we are not able to communicate. When we talked of survey, it meant inspection. Rightly so, it was survey only. The way we conducted those surveys, it meant that we are inspecting the industry premises. So we thought, now we have evolved, the industry in India has evolved over the last 5-6 decades. Now there is a stage set where we can go into more of self-regulation by industry rather than government going and regulating and trying to see what kind of apprentices can. So we have now worked out a model where we will not fix targets or we will not fix numbers for you. It is for the industry to decide what is their capacity, where is their capacity, and how many people they can take as apprentices. We have given a prescriptive regime wherein we have put in a floor of 2.5%, that 2.5% of the total workforce that you have got direct, indirect, contractual together, you have to keep as apprentices. And we have given an upper ceiling also of 10% to see that to ensure that you keep the criticism of government is not there that we are trying to subsidize the industry by providing only apprentices at lower cost. So to save this criticism also, we put in a ceiling which we are open to look at in future, provided we are able to strike that ceiling again and again. And we are able to see performance where industries are able to reach that ceiling and are still ready to have more and more apprentices. So this whole departure is now to give the source of comfort to the industry that we are more in a mode wherein we want industry to self-regulate, but at the same time come forward like in any other country like Japan, Germany, for skilling in the country so that more and more youth gets rightful skills and they are productively employed in the future.
All right. So some CI members have come forward and said that, could this 10% be increased further? Especially those companies, which have had a very robust apprenticeship scheme running. So they feel that they'll be constrained by this upper cap of 10%. So are you trying to say that you have an open mind to change that also once industry embraces?
Definitely, we are open to that. As we said, we are open to walking along with the industry to see how much we can leverage the apprenticeship in the country. So if there are data to suggest that there are industries who are willing to take more than 10%, we can definitely consider that. That issue has already been flagged by industry at some level, and we are considering that, and we plan to revive that interministerial group and the working group to again look at some of these changes. And if that is required, it only needs a small amendment in the rules.
Wonderful.
Which we will be able to carry it through.
That's great. And so now I understand this 2.5% of the manpower strength, this goal will apply to service sector companies also, right?
Across the board for everybody who has got more than 6 employees in an establishment, this option is open. They can start keeping apprentices, and 2.5% goes along to all establishments in the country, MSME, service sector, manufacturing sector.
And what is the threshold that beyond certain number of employees, it's a must to have apprentices?
It is 40 employees. Beyond 40, if you have got more than 40 employees, there is a keeping of apprentices is a must.
Mandatory. All right. See, another complaint that industry has had all through, and actually it also emanated from the apprentices, that the stipend they were getting was very, very low. In some of the categories, the stipend was as low as 1,400 rupees. Which is look at some $20 a month, US dollar a month kind of thing. It was very, very low. So what has your ministry done to revise this stipend? Because at the end of the day, apprentices have to have certain dignity, and they're supposed to meet their expenses.
We have definitely looked at this issue. As you see in the government, once we fix a stipend at any level, its revision takes a lot of time. So this time we have been more forward-looking. We have looked into the issue of stipend, and we have linked it with the semi-skilled wages in the state. Semi-skilled wages vary across states depending on the standard of living and the status of development in that state. So we have linked the stipend with the semi-skilled wages, wherein in the first year the apprentice has to be paid 70% of the semi-skilled wages prevailing in the state, and in the second year it has to be 80%, in the third year it has to be 90%. With this linking of with the semi-skilled wages, we think this problem has been taken care of for future also, because minimum wages in all these categories keep on getting escalated every 6 months in most of the states. So this issue of stipend getting freezed in time will not arise, and we'll have a stipend which is more reflective of the cost in the society.
I think this will be a good change, because the basic cost of living and cost of food, at least, and transportation will be taken care of by this linkage with the minimum wages. That's very, very encouraging. But I've also heard about this apprenticeship Protsahan Yojana, under which in some select categories and subject to certain restrictions, government would reimburse 50% of the payment made by the industry to apprentices. Would you like to speak about that as well?
We have been noting that whatever apprentices we have been getting, it has been in a large industry who have been going forward with the apprentices, and there has been a lot of issues on the MSME front. Apprenticeship Protsahan Yojana is basically aimed to catalyze the apprenticeship in the MSME area. Under the Protsahan Yojana, the government goes on to pay 50% of the stipend for 2 apprentices under establishment for first 2 years of their apprenticeship. And this cap of 2 also we kept so that it is the MSME sector which utilizes it. There has been issues which people have raised on this 2 also, and I'm glad to inform all of you that we are reconsidering this cap, and it will shortly be raised to 10, so that any establishment will subsidize the 50% cost of 10 apprentices for first 2 years of their apprenticeship. The idea is that MSME sector, which always said that they don't have enough funds to bear the cost of apprentices, or MSME sector which had other constraints also get encouraged to join in this movement to bring in more and more apprentices in the country.
But that I think would be very, very encouraging, especially for the MSME sector. Part of their fee up to a maximum of 10 apprentices per unit is going to be reimbursed by the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Another issue that industry always had with the NCVT was that it was not revising the curriculum. It was not having new trades notified based on the changing business landscape, based on the emerging technologies. And many of these courses actually became historic. So whenever the industry used to write to NCVT, they used to take a lot of time. How would you encourage the industry to look at some of these newer trades of apprentices, newer courses, if they want to start based on, which way the winds are blowing? Would the industry have some freedom to start apprenticeship courses on their own?
There are 2-3 things that we are trying to do, and we have done in these amendments also. One is the existing courses. I understand they are limited. They were 259 in numbers, and the kind of trades and the number of areas in which apprentices can take place is huge. We didn't have the bandwidth to create courses for everything. One, we are trying to see these courses are reviewed and revised in consultation with the industry, so that these courses are in sync with times. Second, the most important thing that we have brought in, that the necessity to have apprentices only aligned to the courses under NCVT has been done away. You can have apprentices in new courses, new trades, wherever the industry feels there is a requirement. The optional trades can be defined by the industry. The curriculum can be defined by the industry.
Excellent.
The assessment can be defined by the industry. Even the certification can be done by the industry. And as NCVT, I assure you, whenever there will be a demand for a particular course in a big manner, and many industry will come forward for a particular course and try to do that, NCVT will adopt that curriculum give a national certification also for those courses. So we like to be in sync with industry and we'll go by the industry advice, keep on revising our curriculums, keep on adding new curriculums as per the requirement of the industry.
I think that's really very wonderful, and I'm sure it will be hugely welcomed by the industry. Industry will have the freedom to start the new courses that they want under the optional trade category. Another issue the industry has had is that there used to be in the earlier act a provision to put promoters and managers behind the bars if they had to violate certain conditions of apprenticeship and certain legalities of apprenticeship bonds and so on and so forth. So industry had developed some cold feet and some negativity had prevailed that we are trying to train people on board largely at our cost, and yet why should there be a provision of putting us in the prison? So just want to have your assurance, have these all been removed in the new act, and the industry has it been allowed to largely self-regulate, and report achievements vis-a-vis, the targets. That's what I wanted to understand.
Yeah, definitely. We understand this was one of the concerns of the industry. Those provisions which were penal provisions which led to imprisonment and things like that has been done away with. The only penalty that today industry needs to pay in case of non-compliance of this act is a financial penalty, which is also very negligible. The idea is the industry to self-regulate and should come in a big way to participate in this drive. We will rather, going forward, look at incentivizing industry. Whoever do more and more apprenticeship, how we can incentivize industry so that they come forward and participate in this. The idea is not to penalize, because I personally feel penalizing is not the right way to bring in this kind of legislation or bring in this kind of regulation. Maybe if we promote and maybe if we incentivize the industry, they will be more forthcoming, and we'll expect greater participation of the industry with these changes.
Great. I think that's very encouraging. Indeed, if the negative penalties have been removed and only a small financial penalty, I'm sure it will be levied only for people who are not able to meet 2.5% of the target, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Another complaint which used to be there, especially from the MSME sector, is that the apprenticeship scheme, the law always wanted in-house facility even for the basic training, which was largely theoretical in nature. So they were not allowed to outsource basic training. So are the changes which have happened, are they in the direction that companies can now have the option of outsourcing the basic training?
Definitely. We have now addressed this issue, wherein the necessary requirement of having the facilities to provide the basic training has been done away with. The MSME can together pooling with some of the industries and get this basic training conducted through a BTP, outsource it, or even we are trying to turn our ITIs, wherein ITIs can offer these basic courses. So in clusters, wherever the ITI exists, they can provide these basic courses to the potential apprentices for the MSME sector or other industries. So that requirement has been done away with. We are also trying to work in a landscape where there is enough facility available for basic training, so that this does not become an impediment for having them as apprentices in the industry.
So you're saying those units which only want to focus on the job practical training part of the apprenticeship and not on the basic training, they can do it, and basic training could be outsourced to other units like ITIs and VTPs and all right. So I think that will be that should give a good thrust to those MSME units which were holding back to having apprentices on board because they didn't have infrastructure for basic training. That's very encouraging. There's also, I understand, there is a third-party agencies have been created, or there is a provision for creation of third-party agencies, to conduct the basic training and also do the job of an aggregation of practical training across multiple, MSME units, especially MSME units.
Yeah.
So how would this operate?
We have already issued comprehensive guidelines for these third-party aggregators, and they are on our website. The basic idea is for an MSME to have a division or somebody to look after how to recruit people, how to get them the practical training, how to have the curriculum design, how to have the basic training. It becomes sometimes very difficult for a small unit. So the idea of a third-party aggregator is an agency which can not only aggregate apprentices It can also place apprentices in this MSME sector or industries aspiring to have that. It can also provide facilities for providing the basic training, and it can also help them have that kind of curriculum and things to provide training on the job training within their industry. So this third-party aggregator guidelines have been issued. We are awaiting, some of the agencies have already shown interest, and we are hopeful that in next few months we will have many TPAs which will be operating in this regime and will work in MSME clusters to operationalize this.
Has there been an effort to rationalize the duration of apprenticeship also, Mr. Agarwal?
We have tried to do that. Earlier, the apprenticeship training duration was up to 5 years. Now we have placed it. It has to be a minimum of 6 months. We believe there cannot be a quality scaling below 6 months in any landscape. So minimum is 6 months, but maximum we have restricted it to 3 years now. So any apprenticeship training has to be between a duration of 6 months to 3 years.
And I also believe some of the major trades, you're trying to cap it to 2 years.
As far as feasible, the NCVT courses, which were earlier for 3 years, we have tried to revise those 6 major courses in NCVT, which had employed 70% of the apprentices, in consultation with the industry, and reduce it to 2 years, wherein there is a block of 3 months plus 9 months every year, 3 months of basic training, 9 months of on-the-job training, coupled by again 3 months of basic training, 9 months of on-the-job training. The idea is, if we reduce the training package in a way, we have the right output, and we also take time to have more and more apprentices in the system. The challenge before the country is huge, so we need to do all this to increase also the numbers that we can deliver through the Indian industry.
Oh, excellent. One more thing, the inspections which used to happen in the industry was not very happy. We all understand the sensibilities of field level government people who go and inspect industrial units for apprenticeship. So it used to create a lot of resonance. So is that being reduced, or
we have, as I mentioned earlier, we have get into a prescription regime wherein the surveys have now been done away with. And the second important thing that we have done, we have come out with an online portal. The portal is where any industry can go and register itself. It can announce its number of employees that it has, number of apprentices that it wants to keep, the trade in it wants to keep, the kind of curriculum it wants to follow. The portal is also got facility where people can apply to become apprentices, and the industry can recruit apprentices from the pool of people registered on that portal also for having them. There's a facility also to have an online agreement between the industry and the apprentice, along with the center and the state government, so that the minimum public interface is there and can all be done online. We are also improving that system further to see that even the examination, assessment and certification can carry on through an online portal, so the public interface or the official interface with the industry is minimum, and the industry is able to self-regulate, improve and carry on going ahead with apprenticeship without any fear of government or without any fear of inspection whatsoever.
Excellent.
I'll just intervene. I've got another meeting to catch up at 4 o'clock in North Block. My colleague DDGAT, Mr. Savan Baba, will remain. He will join you to answer all the queries and all the changes that we have tried to bring in this Apprenticeship Act. I look forward to meeting all the colleagues who are joining here today through the webinar. In person also, when we travel across the country through different workshops where we like to interact with industry and clarify their doubts. Looking forward to better apprenticeship days ahead. Thank you very much.
One more last minute, Mr. Agarwal. Could you tell something more about the apprenticeship portal which was launched by the Prime Minister? That how would the industry use it? And
in this portal on 15 July, the Prime Minister has launched it. The first phase of it is over and it is already in public domain. Industry can use it for all kind of interaction with the government. All the stakeholders in this apprenticeship landscape has been brought on the portal. Whether it is the central government, whether it is the regional directorates of the apprenticeship training which are there in the country, which look into the apprenticeship in the PSUs and the larger companies, where there are state apprenticeship advisors who look into the apprenticeship within the MSME and the private industry in the state, all are part of this portal. And we are providing interactive platform also so that online interaction, online clarification of things can happen. In addition to what I said earlier, the online registration of apprentices, online registration of industry, online taking on the apprentices, online monitoring of their performance and online assessment and online certification can also go on. The second part of it will come in phase 2, which I think in next 1 month will be ready. I expect industry to use this portal more and more. And in case there are any issues on the portal, anything that they feel there's a pain point or anything that is lacking, their suggestions are very welcome. We look at it, and this portal is an ongoing exercise. We keep on adding, improving, and moving with you. The idea is government also does not have a big paraphernalia to look into, regulate, and interact with industry. We like you to self-regulate. We like you to move, get into this apprenticeship yourself, and do more and more apprenticeship as you move ahead. We'll provide you this online platform which will help them achieve a national certification as they complete apprenticeship in the organization.
Thank you, Mr. Agrawal. I think it was very useful. Thank you for your time. And also, I would like to thank the government on behalf of the industry that, whatever wish list the industry had, almost the entire wish list have been granted. And, we would like to assure you that industry would work very, very seriously and onboard more and more apprentices. And the session carries on as Mr. Rajesh Agrawal moves for another unavoidable engagement. Thank you, Mr. Agrawal.
Thank you.
So I think, we more or less the questions that we had with Mr. Rajesh Agrawal, those were, exhausted. You have the Deputy Director General from the Ministry, Dr. Baba, available, and I would like to, a couple of questions which I could not ask him, I would like to ask you, Dr. Baba, that, is there any restriction? See, earlier it used to be a very son of the soil kind of policy, that, if I am from Uttar Pradesh, I can, and I have done my ITI from Uttar Pradesh, I can only go to a unit in Uttar Pradesh, So can, is there any change in that because of, can a unit, can a candidate apply for apprenticeship anywhere in the country now?
Yeah. People from any state can join in any state for the apprenticeship training. There is no bar in that only the particular state they have to undergo the apprenticeship training.
So entire country is a field for that, right?
They can do that.
Wonderful.
Especially if you look at it in Northeast, there is no industries. Where will they go for a apprenticeship training? So they have to move to the other states. So anybody from any states can get into the apprenticeship.
So that's an excellent change, Dr. Baba, which has happened.
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you, this new generation apprenticeship courses and the curriculum which have been drawn, especially for those 6 trades which currently account for almost 70% of the seats, like turner, electrician, motor mechanic, food production, fitter, electronic mechanic, and all that. So my question to you, Dr. Baba, is that, are these new generation courses, I'm told these are industry-led, but, are they also NSQF compliant? Are they, do they comply with the National Skills Qualification Framework? And are they based on competency rather than based on just knowledge?
Yeah, good that you have mentioned here the trade names also. All the 6 states have taken it in such a manner that there are 3 trades covering the manufacturing sectors and 3 states covering the service sectors, including the hospitality sector, which is the food processing trade. And we have taken these 6 states based on the populations of the existing population of the apprentices. It caters around 60 to 70% easily. Out of these 259 trades, the 6 states caters 70%. And we have taken up because now we have brought a lot of initiatives. Those initiatives, we have to upgrade the curriculum also so that it should be an industry oriented. So keeping that in mind, the expert committee was formed with the leadership of the industry experts, and then the trade experts were there, subject experts were there in the committee, and those committee went deep into the subjects and identified the job roles for needed for every specific trades, and accordingly the curriculums are defined. And the period of curriculum also was brought up actually for the 2 years almost. It is something some kind of a rationalization we have done it in the period of durations. And apart from this, as a ministry, we have also to fulfill the requirement of NSQF compliance, and this has to be fulfilled even before 2016 for all the courses. Keeping that in view, when we are modifying this or revamping the 6th curriculum, those care also have been taken, and we have mapped with these laws and qualification facts of this NSQF requirement, and they are ready now, and most probably by in the coming meeting, forthcoming meeting of the NSQF, these 6 states will be submitted for their acceptance.
So what you're saying, these 6 trade curriculums have been drawn by the expert group in a manner that it should be NSQF compliant,
Yes,
but it will be formally presented to the committee shortly.
Shortly, and then it will, maybe hope that it will be totally approved because it is compliant with NSQF.
Okay. So before Dr. Baba, we get to our participating members and take their questions. The last question I have with you is, what is the plan for the government to propagate these reforms to the industry so that they understand? Of course, today's webinar is also a step in that direction. But how to? But we are such a large country, so many states, different places. So what is the government doing? What do you expect industry associations like CI to do to spread the message all across the country so that industry eventually embraces this very, very friendly regime which has been agreed by the government, and there is a very, very sharp increase both in qualitative terms as well as quantitative terms in the number of apprentices in the country, I would say starting in the current financial year itself.
Yeah, it's a good question, sir, because after the new initiatives have happened, these new initiatives has to reach all the stakeholders, nook and corner of the country. For this, we have taken up a measure to organize some kind of a national awareness campaign using the help of the industries associations like CII and then FICCI and other industries associations. And we would like to have a kind of a workshops, a kind of an interactive workshops at all the industrial clusters. And through that, we can carry out the first phase of the awareness of these new initiatives. Apart from this, we are also planning to have some kind of a film on apprenticeship training and also some kind of an episodes on the apprenticeship training, which could be through other medias that will may reach the people in mass at a time in a short period. So those things are there. And apart from this, we are also instructed our RDATs. We have around 6 regional directorate of apprenticeship training. These are all RDATs were asked to go to the district level industries clusters to propagate all these new initiatives and bring the industries to come forward to engage them.
Excellent. I think if government and industry they all walk the talk about the changes, I'm sure there'll be a lot of improvement in onboarding of apprentices. And friends from the industry, the CI members who are there in this webinar, I repeat that it's whatever wish list CI had, the industry had in terms of changes, in terms of reforms, all have been agreed with the government, which is a very, very important thing. And so therefore it is important that we embrace the new regime, the reform space of apprenticeship wholeheartedly. And because then we one thing is very, very clear: we'll not be able to blame the government any longer because whatever we wanted, government has done it. So if now we don't show a quantum increase in number of apprentices, we'll have nobody else to blame but the industry. CI itself is doing some 40 workshops all over the country in different clusters to popularize these reforms. We have already done a few here and there, but I mean, still there's a long way to go. Thank you for being with us, and now we would answer your questions, those which we already have, and some of the questions would keep trickling in, right? The first question that we have is, whether we engage, whether under 18 people who are less than the age of 18 can be taken as apprentices. I think our answer is very clearly yes. The minimum age under the Act is 14 years. So anybody who is more than 14 years can be deployed as apprentice. The 18 year is could be the age for employment, but not for apprenticeship.
Only in the hazardous job.
Except hazardous.
Yeah, except hazardous.
Okay.
Hazardous job, we have to take 18 years and above.
Okay.
Because it is to comply with the Act of this.
Yeah. So if you look at the trades, most of the trades are non-hazardous. Yeah. There, 14 years is the age, and only if the training brings some hazards, there the age is 18 or above. The next question is, at present we do not have the ESI cover for apprentices, and therefore any accident during their engagement as an apprentice, it means that the compensation is to be paid by the company which has the apprentice on board. Dr. Bhavan, would you like to respond to
this? It's also a good question, sir. The idea is that we are aware that ESI benefits are not available for the apprentices because they are not employees. And the thing is, actually at present the employer will be taking care, and we are all also have a kind of an issue on board to discuss on this and to get some kind of an insurance facility to be made available to the apprentices. But this was discussed in the last CSE meeting, and maybe it will take some time to come up with some kind of a
right. So currently, yes, employers will have to take care of their compensation and things like that. But going forward, as the Deputy Director General Dr. Baba has very clearly said, that government is contemplating some group insurance schemes and policies, where by paying a small amount of premium, a large number of apprentices, their lives and their health and these issues could be insured. The next question is that is there any provision to reimburse the apprenticeship stipend for ITI trade? For 50% of the amount and all that. I think that Mr. Rajesh Agarwal has addressed very clearly that under Apprenticeship Protsahan Yojana, the government Ministry of Skill Development will reimburse 50% of the stipend that you pay to stipend, but subject to certain conditions that the preference would be given to MSMEs more, and more of manufacturing trades would be preferred, and so on and so forth. And also there is also restriction on number of apprentices for whom the reimbursement will happen at each unit, which the government is contemplating to increase to 10 apprentices per unit. Then there's another question on quota fixation method and ratio. So I think this quota system has just gone away with, that regime has been dismantled very clearly, and what you will have would be 2.5% of your work, of your strength, of employee strength, by employees, which would mean regular employees, seasonal employees, contractual employees, outsourced employees, all employees put together, direct and indirect, and 2.5% of that would be your target. 2.5% of the employee strength you'll have to have as apprentices at any given point of time.
And the industry themselves can decide the trades depending upon the number of apprentices per trade, and which trade the apprentices could engage depending upon the facility available with them. There is no kind of a quota or
no inspection required for facilities, and no trades thrust on the industry by the ministry, very clearly. Because you will deploy apprentices in the trades which are relevant to your area of business. Otherwise, you can't provide apprenticeship. So government will have no role there as well. Now, TVS has posted a question that during apprenticeship training, whether we can deploy the apprentice to other locations for further skill development training, since we have got special exemption from Kerala and not yet from Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, and would request submitted to both Tamil Nadu and Karnataka government. Dr. Bao, would you like to take this question?
Sir, here the issue is apprentice is already a trainee, and he has to complete his apprenticeship training. Already he has to complete the apprenticeship training, then only he has to take up any other skill training. So the apprenticeship training he has to complete as per the requirement of the syllabus in the industry. And within that apprenticeship training, you wanted to shift him to a different locations. For this purpose, it could be done, provided you will take care of all these expenses, boarding, lodging, and whatever it is occurring into that. But you cannot deploy him for some other training when he is already an apprentice.
All right. The other question is any possibility of state syllabus ITI candidate to undergo apprenticeship training, since no NCVT candidate only eligible for I have not understood, Dr. Baba, but can you get out this last
Any
question?
possibility for state syllabus ITI candidate to undergo apprenticeship training, since now NCVT candidate only eligible for undergone apprenticeship training? It is not so. ITI trainees have got two ways of certificates. One is NCVT certificate, one is an SCVT certificate. If they get the NCVT certificate, the rebate period is full rebate they will get. If they will go to the SCVT certificate, they will get only half rebate. That means if the rebate is for 1 year for NCVT training, for example, fitter trade is 3 years. If he does ITI in 2 years, he will undergo only 1 year in the case of NCVT candidate in the industry. In the case of SCVT, he has to undergo training for 2 years in the industry as apprentice. This is the only difference, but both of them can undergo.
All right. There's one question posted by Sridhar Rajgopalan and saying that the IMG considered and recommended that within financial year, each establishment would have to engage 2.5% and a maximum of 10% of the workforce as apprentices. Has it been incorporated? Yeah, so I'm sure you would have posted this question earlier. It has been accepted in toto, and 2.5% is the max, is the minimum, and 10% of your employee strength as the maximum of apprentices you can have. So we come to the next question now. Any shift hours amended in new program? Dr. Baba, I would like you to explain, because industry's expectation is very clearly that wherever you can have employees working in the shifts, but the same logic, apprentices should also be allowed to come in different shifts and not only in the main shift.
Yeah, apprentices are allowed to work in the shifts. There is
excellent.
Yeah,
wonderful.
There is no bar in that.
So I think it's a very good clarification from the ministry that apprentices now going onwards can work in any shift like our employees. You know, there is no change. There's no differential treatment to them at all. You know. How many training hours per week are mandatory, Dr. Baba, for apprentices?
Again, normally it is an 8 hours per day and 40 hours per week.
So
8
hours a day and 40 hours a week.
In total 40 hours per week is mandatory.
Yeah. Then there is a question, how many training hours, oh, this has been answered. Whether we engage below 18 years as apprentices, and this we have already, so these are the earlier ones, right? All these we have already answered, right? So I don't see.
1 minute. Yeah.
Is the portal active as of now? Yes.
Yeah, it is active. Yeah, it is active.
As the Joint Secretary and the DDG both have explained, the portal is active. You can try, and if you find any difficulties in using the portal, please get back to the ministry as early as possible, so that we can enhance it, we can make changes, and so on and so forth. Address of the portal, please.
If you go to NCVT MIS in Google search, you will get immediately the portal. But however, I will able to give you the portal, but this is.
Yeah, if you could share the link also with the members.
Also, yeah,
link also. Yep.
Right. I hope the file actually.
Yeah. Okay. This we can send to all, right?
Yeah.
So
we can send it to all.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, we click now?
Yeah, we could. Do we have it?
I will just
Or let's do.
Yeah. All right. We'll do other questions.
Offline answer.
Okay. Is government thinking? Go to that. Is the government thinking of devising curriculum for pharma industry? Very clearly, Dr. Baba, are there any courses for pharma industry out of 259 of NCVT currently? Any pharmaceutical industry?
Yeah.
Are there any trades for pharmaceutical industry out of 259?
Yeah, there are very few trades are available. Not many trades are available.
Okay.
There are very few trades are available.
Okay.
But pharmaceutical even has some chemical the trades connected with chemical industries.
Okay.
And other things.
All right. All right. So pharma, there are few trades, few courses, but more can be added. And as a pharma company, you are free to have any optional trade added, kind of thing. And concurrently also recommend to the ministry and the NCVT to embrace that course.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very open. So absence of a course in this list of 259 is no longer a constraint at all. So industry is allowed to have any new courses that you want. Any awareness program scheduled in the south? Yes, very clearly. I mean, I'm not able to give you dates right now.
I think we could give.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Just the places we can give.
Yeah.
The dates we can share.
So right now, we have, places like states. I'll tell you not only south. I'll give you all. Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, West Bengal, Haryana, Maharashtra. I'll tell you, Odisha will be in Bhubaneswar, Madhya Pradesh in Bhopal, West Bengal in Kolkata, Haryana, Gurgaon, Karnataka, Bangalore, Assam in Guwahati, Tripura, Agartala, Maharashtra, Pune, Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow, Delhi, New Delhi, of course, Jammu and Kashmir in Jammu, then Tamil Nadu in Chennai, Gujarat in Vapi, Telangana in Hyderabad, Andhra Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh in Badi, Uttarakhand in Dehradun, and so a lot of these Jharkhand, Jamshedpur, and Rajasthan in Jaipur. So these are the lists which are already available, and the first one which is scheduled now, if you look at today, is in Bhopal in Madhya Pradesh on 15th of September, and on 16th of September we have in Bhubaneswar, and there is a series of dates which we are not sharing straight away, because these dates, some of them are subject to change depending upon, because these are the ministry is taking it so seriously. In some of these sessions, the minister himself will go. In some others, the secretary will go, the joint secretary will go, or the DDG will go. So I think therefore we are not sharing all these dates, but the first two are more or less certain, which are first 2 or 3 perhaps. 15th September in Bhopal, 16th in Bhubaneswar, and 18th in Kolkata. These are already shared. Then coming to the so there are awareness programs, and let me also tell you, if any of you want to take the ownership of organizing something in your own cluster over and above the CI agenda or government agenda, please give us a call. Tell the ministry, or you can take my mail ID also. My mail ID is jayant.krishna jayant.krishna@tcs.com. You write to us, and we'll be or write to CII, to Saugata, Neeta, Shashwat, any of these people, and we'll be pleased to help you over and above the schedule also. Availability of skilled workforce in pharma industry. Yes, you have taken web link and portal. Could we find the web link?
Web link or portal. I'll just get it from there.
Okay. All right. Total number of.
Yeah.
Somebody has said total number of seats are 2.5 to 10% of workforce. What are the guidelines for trade-wise seats? No guidelines.
It's free. I mean, you can decide yourself depending upon the facility.
I mean, you have the facility, you have the machines, you have the technology, so you decide how do you want to do. RD&T will have no role in there. Can we have a table listing the wish list versus transforms proposed to be implemented? Whatever we talked about in last 1 hour was nothing but the wish list the industry had and what the government has accepted. So we talked about all these things. Are there any apprentices eligible only from ITIs? No. Yeah, I think that's a good point you raised, because we did not cover that. See, going forward, today bulk of the apprentices, almost 80% of them come from the ITI. They're trade apprentices under the ITI system. Who have done their CTS program course, and now they've come for ATS in the industry. So going forward, almost all courses in the country have been brought under the purview of apprenticeship. This candidate will be doing a BA, BCom, BSc, MA, MCom, MSc, BCA, whatever. Any undergraduate or postgraduate course can do apprentice. So it's a very, very inclusive regime which has been agreed. And also any of the NSDA or NSDC approved vocational training courses, any of them who want apprenticeship, they have apprenticeship doors are open to them. They are no longer confined largely to ITI students. So the entire country, the educational space is a playground for apprenticeship today. Then we have can apprentices be taken from private, technical? Yeah. Private, government, technical, anywhere you can take apprentices from. Is the apprenticeship reimbursement under the Yojana applicable for all apprentice program? Say for media, advertising, anything? Yeah. See, as going today, the first focus is on MSME and manufacturing, but very clearly it is open even for service sector trades and courses like media, advertising, so on and so forth. Yes, answer is yes, it is open for all. Engagement as a fresher for 10th pass candidate, is there there in the revised act, Dr. Bava?
Same, they can engage as a fresher.
Yeah.
There is no revision on that. As such, they can continue. Only the number of seats to be identified is a range between 2.5 to 10%. That's all.
So 10th pass outs can also be there,
Yeah.
and basically secondary school students who are studying in vocational schemes, they can also come for apprenticeship kind of thing. ESI, I think we have already answered. ESI issue, training hours. So
yeah, it could be done because this could be encouraged. If the employer is ready to contribute 12 rupees per candidate, bring them under that accidental insurance cover of the Honorable Prime Minister.
Just for a shot.
Yeah, it could be done. It could be done at your.
I think Rajat Srivastava has given that it's a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
At a very, very low cost.
Yeah.
There's a good coverage. Thanks Rajat for sharing this and also ideating at this level. It's a wonderful thing to do. Training hours of RI classes. What
Yeah, now this there is no more RI classes actually. They have to be given a basic training.
What is RI?
RI means rigorous, rigorous institutional training. That is what they have. Related instructions, what we call it.
Not the other RI.
Yeah, related instruction classes. That is not there now.
So it's not there now.
So related instructions could be a part of the forms, a part of the basic training.
Suraj Sonavane, that's your answer.
Yeah.
RI no longer there. Thanks so much. Good program indeed. Appreciate this. Yeah, so I think thank you for liking it. Portal link, we'll send it to you all. But you can search on the Ministry of Skill
Portal link is here,
NCVT.
www.ncvt.mis.gov.in.
Yeah, we can. I think we just.
Where?
I think let's try clicking.
Same thing here. No, URL we have asked for
Here?
a separate URL, but that's still under process.
Right
Right now we're just looking at our NCVT.
Let's try it. This one. Can we click on this? Here we can type.
So we are putting the portal, and you will get.
There's a specific question.
Trade apprentices, which government GO is applicable? 680 and 912. To the GO notice.
No, just let me see. There's no spelling error. I'm not very good at NCVT, MIS, government in pages, apprenticeship, right? Is this correct?
GOV.in pages, apprenticeship. This is sufficient.
Yeah.
The moment they put NCVT MAS, it will come, and in that, if they click apprenticeship training, they can get into the portal.
So we are sending this portal link to all of you.
And we are easily, very soon we'll be getting a separate URL for the apprenticeship training also.
Are there any other questions?
There's
What is the present rate of stipend of trade apprentices? Don't even ask that. It's a, as I said, it's a very, very small sum. The lowest is about 1,400 rupees, which is $20 US dollars.
No, it is revised now actually. The present rate of stipend is revised, and it has to be given as per 70% of the semi-skilled wages existing in the state.
So it's already revised.
It is
So the
already
lowest
revised.
is 70 in the year one, 70% of the minimum wages in that state.
It has came into the effect already.
And second year, 80%. So for any subsequent revision, you don't have to depend on the ministry. It's automatically linked to the minimum wages, which state governments generally revise twice in a year.
Yeah.
At least all major governments.
And for if the ITA person is engaged as an apprentice, the stipend will be 90% because he is undergoing the apprenticeship training. Though it is 1 year period, but he will be undergoing the third year of the apprenticeship training. So hence it should be 90% of the.
Mr. Samir Chaudhary is also asking which GO is applicable.
Same thing.
680A or
But the GO we do,
910E?
that I am not sure the
Okay.
numbers.
All right. How to terminate? Kuldeep Singh asks how to terminate the apprentices.
That
That's
is,
one area
no,
my mind doesn't work, Dr. Baba.
No, there is a provision, novation of contract. On either side, the contract could be terminated on some reasons. But that is comes under the Novation of Apprentice Act. That could you can go through the act which is available in the web portal, and you can go through the part of the novation of contract in which it is dealt very clearly.
Any vocational crash course for industrial textile company like Weaver? Yeah, I mean, it may not be linked with apprenticeship straight away, but you know, for weavers who have acquired those skills from families in a traditional manner, but without a certificate, you know, the Ministry of Skill Development has a program called the Recognition of Prior Skills. So I think, you know, those such people can really take advantage of that, and also there are some weaving courses under the MES program, under the SDI scheme. You know, so I think that advantage also you can take. So people who have skills, they can get their basically you know, vocational course done. Of course, you know, if weavers are completely illiterate and they have not studied, do not have a minimum qualification, then apprenticeship route as of now will not be open. But there are other schemes of the government. Whether any trade or on crane operators is included in the apprenticeship scheme. Yeah, see,
there is a trade connected with the crane operator.
So out of these 259 NCVT trades for apprenticeship, a crane operator is there. But if you feel it is not updated, you're free to start your own trade and start apprenticeship straight away. And also tell the government what changes they need to make. So absence of a trade in the government list should no longer be a constraint. You know, that's what one is trying to say. Please share the calendar for the participation. Calendar for the workshops we have broadly shared, and CI will be in touch with each one of you as and when in your region they schedule a workshop. You know, they'll be too keen to get your participation. You know. Whether any trade or crane operator we have said, please share the calendar. Then how we can get industry-oriented trades registered. So suppose you know, these industry-oriented trades are not there in the list of 259. So you start your own you know, start your own trade, draw a curriculum. I'm talking about industry doing it. Draw the curriculum, set the you know, assessment rules and conditions and methodology, and start the apprenticeship. And in the meanwhile, you know, also write that to the government, and if the government feels that this course is really a new generation course which has a critical mass in the country, there will be a lot of takers. So government within a very short time frame, they will notify that course and include in this list of NCVT approved ATS courses also. But you don't have to wait for the government. You conceive a course today, and next week, you know, if you have done this homework in terms of defining the optional trade, the curriculum, assessment, and so on and so forth, you could start a scheme.
And the details of the optional trade should be put into the portal for transparency.
Correct. The 70, 80%, 90% of minimum wages, we've already said that it has happened. Samir Chaudhary, then Kuldeep Singh says different types of notices which company can issue to the apprentices. Mr. Dr. Baba, what kind of notices?
Different types of notices which company can issue to the apprentices. Types of notices here in regards to, again.
No, any issue, any disciplinary issue or any non-compliance issue, you know, I as an industry person feel, you know, you have to notify is the same way you notify your employees.
Yeah,
that is why should there be any difference, you know, kind of thing. I don't think law will have a major issue there.
Take approval to minimize or maximize number of apprentices in our company.
Yeah, so basically it's all, see, you know, a target is given to you, you start onboarding apprentices, and if you do it through the portal, then even the apprenticeship contract can be approved online on the portal, you know, kind of thing. So I mean, ideally there is no approval required at all except the contract part, you know, where government still has to tick on the proposal.
Yeah. Sir, when you register an employer registration in the portal, you have to give how many apprentices will be engaged and the start date and end date of the apprenticeship training. Once the end date comes complete, automatically the portal will show, bring them and numbers to the minimized number. So any more number after the completion of one batch of apprenticeship training, automatically you can go for the registration of next batch of apprentices. So the minimize and maximize is also almost like an online process now. So and automatically the moment it registered, it automatically goes to the state for their concurrence and for their approval if it is a private company. If it is a public sector, it goes to the RDIT and they will accord the approval, but everything in an online and time-bound manner. Everything a timeline is fixed.
See, my request to all of you is that please start using the apprenticeship portal, and if you find any difficulties, get back to the ministry at the earliest so that those changes could be made so that it becomes very, very user friendly, even more user friendly. And
Can VTP pass out?
Can VTP pass out go for apprenticeship? VTP, I'm assuming is having the MES courses under the SDI scheme. Those courses are being run. So as long as other condition of apprenticeship in terms of age and the class and all that are there, a VTP pass out can also join as an apprenticeship. There is no bar not allowing the VTP. So VTP pass outs can also join. Whether apprenticeship training duration depends on the trade or on SCVT and CVT. Yeah, so basically
both actually depends on trades, depends on NCVT as well as SCVT.
So basically, for example, these 6 courses that we talked about for non-ITI students, fresh students, 2 years is the duration which has been agreed for it. So you'll have to go by that. I mean, you have to follow and be compliant with the prescribed duration by NCVT or SCVT. Do we need to register in the portal for the reimbursement?
Yes. Yes. There is a separate portal available for APY also, that is also linked with the same apprentice portal. In that APY portal, for any kind of reimbursement, the entire data should be fed into the portal and then it is through portal only.
Dr. Baba, one complaint industry used to make earlier that the government takes a lot of time in agreeing to these reimbursements and the money being credited and all that. So what is being done to fast track the approval system?
Sir, actually, in the beginning it may take, in the first time reimbursement may take some little process because it involves a certain kind of a financial outflows. Otherwise, once it is outlined, it started, then every month automatically it will happen. The time will be very, very minimal.
All right. Maximum 10% is the limit for trade apprentice or all type of apprentices, graduate, technical, all. Yeah, all kinds of apprentices. These are the total limit, not just for trade apprentices, all categories of apprentices put together. Can they work more than 8 hours in a day, Dr. Baba?
Subjected to the number of hours restricted in a week, that is 40 hours per week.
So 8 could become 10 in a day as long as it doesn't exceed 40 in a month.
40
in a week.
In 40 hours.
Related instructional that we have talked about earlier. Please share rate of stipend that I have logged late. In the first year, you will get 70% of the minimum wages as a stipend. Second year of apprenticeship, you get 80%, and third year you get 90% of the minimum wages as a stipend during apprenticeship. Our questions left unresolved. Kuldeep Singh, with Kuldeep, you'll have to key in again which question. I don't know. I thought we have been answering every question. Oh, about this.
That will be clarified later, maybe by sending a mail to him.
If the link is not working,
he can type his mail address so that we can take it up. Mr. Samir can give you your mail address, please. You can type your mail address so that the reply could be given to you.
And even Kuldeep Singh.
Kuldeep Singh also. Please kindly give your email address.
Where you can view the list of 259, please go to the ministry website, and under NGVT apprenticeship.
It is available in the website, yeah.
If the apprenticeship seats are not filled, even after reminders to ITIs for trade apprentices, is it a non-compliance? Yes. You have to meet your quota. I mean, the job of mobilizing the apprentices is also that of the industry, you know. And as we said, it is a very, very inclusive regime now. Apprenticeship is no longer confined to largely trade apprentices from ITIs. It could be anywhere. You could go to colleges, universities, other vocational training providers, or whichever category you want, you can go for. So yes, it will still be a non-compliant if you are not able to get apprentices. Can Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana certified can participate in the training? There is no harm, you know, if all of the rules are conditions are met of age and qualification. Yes, PMKVY certified candidate can also participate under apprenticeship. Is there any time? Am I correct, Dr. Baba? You know?
Yeah, as you said, it is they are eligible. Eligibility fulfills, they can undergo the apprenticeship training. No bar in it. If the eligibility is not there, then they may not be able to go. But we can work it out a bit later, maybe after seeing the.
Is there any time limit to get apprenticeship training after their exam results for diplomas, trades? There is a restriction that after 3 years they would get apprenticeship training and is applicable. So basically, after passing out, till what period of passing out a course can they go for apprenticeship? I mean, if I have completed ITI today, if my understanding of the question is, if I have done ITI in June 2015, you know, then I can apply for apprenticeship till what year or what cutoff date?
There is no such cutoff date is been put. Only the age restrictions are there, and then trade, and it depends upon the industry. Suppose a person wanted to do an apprenticeship training. You think of, suppose he served in some kind of a defense and he wanted to come back and then do some kind of an apprenticeship training.
Could still do.
Still do. He should see the eligibility of the conditions of the.
So what is the upper age then?
And the industry can take it up. Upper age we have not set. Anybody above the 14 years age can undergo the apprenticeship training.
So upper age is not there. So yes, I mean the answer is if there's a break also between completion of course and start of apprenticeship, you could still do it. And the ministry has not notified any maximum, recommendation in that area. Idea is, this country has, 120 crore people, and if they miss the bus earlier in life,
I don't think
why should
3 years or 4 years they will normally come.
I mean,
it is very rare, except a kind of a defense officials or somebody.
So as per law, there is no restriction, but the sooner they join after course, the more relevance would be, and they'll be able to absorb the on the job and basic training in the apprenticeship program much easily. As per the guidelines, what is the ratio of practical to theory? We're trying that in most trades. It becomes almost 75% hands-on
30 and 70.
30 and 70.
30%, 70%.
30% basic training, which is largely theoretical, but theoretical training also has some hands-on component, and 70% will be pure hands-on, which is practical training. Can we get the minutes of the session if possible? Oh, I thought it was not a government meeting for a change.
Semi-skill.
Yeah. I think this program is getting recorded. You should have told me earlier. No, I think yes, we'll have a record of this program, of all what the three people have said. Can we 70% of minimum wages of skilled?
Semi-skill.
Semi-skill. Because the person who's coming for apprenticeship is not skilled, semi-skilled.
I will note it down this.
Sameer Chaudhary, you have given your.
Thank you, and we will reply also to your.
Sameer _ SAMEER _CHAUDHARY at JUBL. Is Jubilant or what?
CHAUDHARY at
JUBL.com.
JUBL. Okay.
Another is Kuldeep.Singh. Sandhar.in. Sandhar is the company headed by Mr. Jayan Dawar, right? Thanks for sharing the links. Can you please comment on the mandatory returns with respect to the Act? Sameer Chaudhary, you have asked for what are the mandatory returns. That area is yet being worked upon. But idea is to reduce the returns to an extent possible, and in an ideal situation, we would like to have a regime where government is able to download the returns directly from the portal itself. But I think in coming days, more light will be thrown on this. Our link has been working. I don't know which link you're talking about, your company's link or whichever link you are.
I think that's the
It could be a technical issue because again we are doing the second stage of process is underway. So there could be a possibility for sometimes it can happen, but it is not far.
It says that for diploma, graduate, apprenticeship training, within 3 years they should undergo training. So, see what happens, the polytechnic diploma and degree courses, their NHRD also has some guidelines. So in that case, you'll have to be compliant with those guidelines.
Yeah, those guidelines.
Yeah. So when we talk about the gap between apprenticeship and the completion of the course, there being no gap prescribed, we only talked about the courses which the Ministry of Skill Development owns and runs, like ITIs, ITCs, SDI, and even NSDC partners courses, NSD approved courses, and so on and so forth. Link available for website we already talked about. Yes, it is. I think that brings us to an end. We have had all questions.
Any link is available website for apprentices to see the list of companies. Yeah, it's a good question actually. It's a good question. The main important aspects of the web portal is both the side, the employer as well as the apprentices can get into their details. If the employer wishes to see the apprentices, whoever is registered in the portal to take them for apprentices also is possible. Similarly, apprentices also can see through the entire employer profile and then see where the vacancies are there, in which trade vacancies are there, and accordingly they can also apply. These are all the facilities available in the portal.
So thank you. I think there being no more questions, we can conclude this webinar. And thank you for being such a wonderful set of participants and for posing such relevant and intelligent questions to us. And I would like to, on behalf of Mr. Rajesh Agarwal, Joint Secretary and Director General Training, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Dr. Baba, who is the Deputy Director General, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, and on my personal behalf, I would like to thank all of you for sparing your time. And I would like to plead with each one of you to take the reforms very, very seriously and embrace the new regime, which is a very, very friendly regime. As I said earlier, it's almost a dream come true for the industry in terms of whatever the government has addressed each and every pain area that we had. And it's now our job, our responsibility to have a higher onboarding of apprentices in our respective companies. The first step is, after you are convinced, go to your unit head or your CEO or whatever it is and evangelize the case for having more apprentices. Not just because if you will not have the mandatory number of 2.5%, you'll face a financial fine. That is a lesser problem, but very clearly it's a very, very good business case with a very low payback period for you to invest in apprentices. As they will add a lot of value, which to your respective companies. Thank you for your time, and we really appreciate it. It's a busy day and peak working hours. I really appreciate you having taken that time out. Thank you very much. And this may be the end of the webinar, but any question if you have to Mr. Rajesh Agarwal, to Dr. Baba, or to myself, or to CII, please feel free to write about it. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all.